Still have a lot to do, I still have to put away the chairs. But anyway, I've got all the chores. Or anyway, it's up to me to do them all. I still have to put my clothes today. All in all, reality is cats, like an alley cat at your park. But now I gotta do your part. I got a day job and a night job and an interview at 5. You've gotten rid of both boyfriends and you've given me the green light. I got a day job and a night job and an afternoon away. You just waved a hand and we're engaged, you say. I've been up since 4 AM and finishing this at midnight. After this thing I should sell it and call it quits when the getting's good. I took a night at your new club today to take a break away from the rats. But now I got your locker stool and your car keys in my cart. I pick up the pieces left on the floor while you walk away like you don't care no more. I'm tired of cleaning every mess you make, slowly losing patience with every break. Every promise broken never leads to change. I'm the one who's always left rearranged. Your lack of effort shows clear as the day. I'll be sweeping you out when I find my way. Hey, hey, I'm the cleanup crew, fixing your mess just like it's new. Hey, hey, won't be here long, cleaning house, I'm moving on. Watching you take credit for the work I do, every single task I pull double through. Your empty words no longer faze me. Soon enough your history, just wait and see. Where's the spark, the dedication gone? I'm carrying weight, dragging us along. No more excuses, your time is past. This sweeps your fate, I'll make it last. Hey, hey, I'm the cleanup crew, fixing your mess just like it's new. Hey, hey, won't be here long, cleaning house, I'm moving on.
Welcome back to another Tuesday night episode of Tech Q&A with yours truly, Tech Coach Ralph.
Are you ready?
Are you guys ready to get into these questions tonight? I am looking to hear from you. I want to know from you. You can either call in. The link is pinned to the top of the chat as well as in the description. But I want to know from you, what is your most challenging aspect of getting into tech? Or if you're already in tech, what is your most challenging aspect of being in tech? Maybe you're trying to learn, maybe, I don't know. You tell me what do you find the most challenging, and then we can have a conversation about that. I also have some questions as well that, I've gathered some questions that you might need answers to, and I am here to help. So call in, ask in the chat. We're going to go through these questions and let's have a conversation tonight, all right? So that is the plan. But first and foremost, let's get into our agenda for tonight. I want to start off by saying a big thank you to all of the subscribers to the channel, those who have been with me for a very long time, and those who are brand new, who are like, we are growing quickly, and I really appreciate it. Those who watch from the clouds, those who are very active in the chat and in the comments, every last one of you, I appreciate you.
I appreciate you.
And I got to give a big shout out to all of my Patreon members, Team Techodrop, my tech barbarians, my tech prodigy members, my technical explorers, every last one of you who are working so hard. I'm working on some amazing Patreon content talking about how to get prepared for interviews, how to answer questions in interviews. That's an art. That is an art, to answering questions in interviews. The right questions to ask in interviews. And there's actually not necessarily a question, but some feedback on one of the questions for tonight that's going to help with that as well. But I'm going to give it from my perspective as well inside of the Team Techodrop Patreon. So looking forward to seeing you there. You can also join, and through the Patreon, you can also join the Team Techodrop Discord, where I'm going to be showing how I create my thumbnails with AI, how I sometimes I'll be editing video, different things, as well as I'm going to get back into like the office hours on some weekends, maybe once a month, so I can answer your questions there as well. So that is the plan. That's what I'm looking forward to. All right. That's what is on the horizon. So shout out to you guys, techodrop.dev. If you are looking to sign up, if you're looking to level up your tech and career skills. All right. And shout out as well to my tech mercenaries. Those are the YouTube members who keep this channel alive and well. Thank you to every last one of you as well.
We the best.
All right. So do me a favor before we go any further. Let's take care of some housekeeping. Do me a favor, like the video, share the video, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell so you know every time we go live and drop new content. Like I said earlier, check out techodrop.dev. There's going to be so much information. If you do need one-on-one coaching, you have to sign up for the basic tier on the Team Techodrop Patreon. Send me a message in there, and then we can have a one-on-one, a consultation to see if it is possible for me to coach you. If you're a good candidate, need to know your background, need to vet you, because one thing that matters to me more than anything is my time. So I have to see if you are the right candidate for coaching. All right. So you gotta invest in yourself. Sign up for the Team Techodrop Patreon, techodrop.dev, and send me a message in there, and then we can have a one-on-one to see if you would be a good fit for coaching. All right. That is that. All right. Other areas of business. We are going live tomorrow morning. Shout out to Joseph and Trey yesterday. Shout out to Operation Tech Takeover. We were over on the Talk That Tech show, talking about NVIDIA, talking about Google losing a second antitrust lawsuit. I mean, at this point, how many antitrust lawsuits can you lose before you're not a monopoly anymore? We're talking about that. What else were we talking about? I was showing the AI chatbot wars and a lot of good stuff. So shout out to Joseph, Trey, and Operation Tech Takeover. We had a great conversation yesterday. So shout out to all of you. However, tomorrow morning, we are going live with our large language model course. We're going to continue with week 2, day 1, trying to wrap that up so that we can, continue through this DevOps course, not DevOps, our large language model course. And I'm making some adjustments that I just have to finalize for the upcoming going forward, right? So I'm making some adjustments, all that good stuff. So stay tuned. Going to make some tough decisions, but they're going to be the right decisions. So stay tuned for that. Tomorrow, we're also going to be releasing our software explorations. And believe it or not, you're not going to believe this, right? As much as I've been writing JavaScript and Node and been using asynchronous functions and awaits, I never really understood what it meant. So it just hit me working on a project with one of my tech barbarians. I'm like, well, I need to get a much better understanding of how this async stuff works, how these asynchronous functions. So tomorrow I am releasing a software explorations concept and overviews, breaking down to myself and an extension to you what asynchronous functions are, how they work. And like I learned so much making this video, and there might be some parts that I'm off on, but I want to share it with you. And you can let me know if I'm missing something, if I should look deeper into something. But I learned about promises, and I was able to actually make a lot of sense what a promise is and asynchronous calls. So That's tomorrow, noon Eastern time. We're going to break it down, asynchronous calls, and then eventually on a live stream, we're going to actually be implementing it to get a much, much better understanding of all of that good stuff. All right. So that is what's coming up tomorrow. And do me a big, big favor. We have out. Where did that come from? Oh, that's from Twitch. I was like, where'd that come from? All right. So we have our, I have my Half Guard Halfy channel. That is my jiu-jitsu channel. In case anyone is interested about learning a little bit more about jiu-jitsu, I am clipping up some videos, posting it there, some shorts. And the goal is to go live every other Sunday night with my jiu-jitsu friends and family. So check that out, Half Guard Halfy channel. I just posted it in the chat. Subscribe to that channel. We're going to be doing some really, really cool stuff over there, breaking down competition matches, sharing perspectives, how to grow in a martial arts, in particular jiu-jitsu, but you can apply it to anything else, right? So that is the plan. Tomorrow morning, large language models. Tomorrow afternoon or tomorrow at noon, we're going to be talking about asynchronous calls in JavaScript and Node. All right. So that is what we have on the horizon. With that being said, I am going to say hello to my friends in the chat. All right. So let's see who we have in the building. Shout out to my guy, Prince Marky D. Says the most challenging is communication by far. That is a very, very good point. We'll touch on that in a little bit. But shout out to, I caught up with Prince Marky D today in another show, an amazing show by my guy, Michael Jenkins. Managed Chaos, I believe, is his channel. But yeah, so I was like, hey, look at that. Look at Prince Marky D. Shout out to Prince Marky D. Thank you so much for being here. I truly, truly appreciate you.
I appreciate you.
We got Maddox in the building over on the Twitch side of the game. Maddox says, need to get a one-on-one with you. You know how to reach me. You know how to reach me. Maddox says, make sure I am on the path to success. So that we can do. Definitely hit me up, Maddox. You know how to reach you know how to reach me. All right. So with that being said, I think we are ready to get started with our show for tonight. Like I said, the link is pinned to the top of the chat. If you want to call in and have a conversation, we can talk about tech. We can talk about careers. We can talk about compassion if that's what you're into. Like I had a conversation with my guy Rod Brown last week, Tuesday, and I made a lot of changes in my life after having that conversation with Rod Brown. So shout out to my guy, the nourishing word, Rod Brown.
Let's get it.
All right, so let's get started. The format we're going to do: 2 questions, break, address a chat. 2 questions, break, address a chat. If anybody calls in, they get priority. So I'll finish that question. We'll have that conversation. If there's a question in the chat as well, it gets priority. So once I'm finished with the question that I'm answering, we go to the question in the chat. If somebody sends a super chat with a question, that gets even maximum priority. All right. I'm just saying we have to, I prioritize the chat. So you guys are doing the show with me. You guys are doing the show with me, and I appreciate you for that. All right. So with that being said, and the goal is always to finish early, and you know how they say ahead of schedule, under budget. To me, finishing early and answering all the questions, that is ahead of schedule and under budget. And we have the one, the only Rock the Scrubs Roxy in the building. Says good evening to you as well, Roxy. How are you doing tonight? Hopefully everything is going phenomenal with you. I knew you're gonna retract that message, Roxy, but I was like, you know what? I still want to say hi to you. I don't want to wait for the new message to come in. I still wanted to say hi to you. So good evening to you, Roxy. Hopefully everything is well with you, right? So with that being said, let's get started with our show for tonight. Let's do it. All right. First question. First question up on the docket.
Another one.
Got a very nice and sweet rejection letter. Aww. I mean, as at least it was nice and sweet, although being a rejection letter. All right. Let's get to it. Let's get to it. Where are we? All right. So this one says, get it all here. It says, I got a very nice rejection letter. Basically said I was the 36th candidate out of 455 candidates in the email, which was the top 8%. This was for a remote automation QA role based out of New York City. The interview itself was horrible. It lasted 5 minutes and basically said I was straight up not a fit because I had 2 years of experience in mobile automation, not web automation. Also, my face was blinded by the camera because I sat in a spot with lots of sunlight coming in, and he gave me for that. However, the contrast with the extremely nice rejection email is kind of hilarious and definitely gave me a confidence boost after the blunder on my part. Despite my frustrations, I still have a decent job, so therefore I am more competitive than I am giving myself credit for. Time to keep pushing. So let me give some feedback on this one. Let's start our clock real quick. So I'll say this. A lot of times, here's what I noticed, right? Here is what I noticed. A lot of times we critique our performance a lot more harsher than the person who was interviewing us actually thought of us, right? And a lot of times people will interviews, they're not supposed to be like an interrogation. Sometimes they might feel like an interrogation, but they're not supposed to be an interrogation. So if the person is joking around with you for you sitting in a bad sun, like in a spot that has a lot of sunlight coming in, they're probably just joking with you and stuff like that. Now, was it really 5 minutes? I don't know. I can only go by what you said. It's hard for me to imagine an interview lasting only 5 minutes. And if it was me personally, I would not hold it against you that you had mobile automation and not as much web automation, because at the end of the day, when it comes between mobile automation and web automation, it's just the difference in frameworks. Like, let's say you're using Appium and then they use Selenium, or if they use Playwright. Like, I would have no problem if somebody had experience mainly with Playwright. I need it for Selenium, and they had experience mainly with Playwright. I'm like, okay, cool. You can quickly pick up on Selenium, and vice versa. Let's say you only had experience with Selenium, but your coding in Selenium is really, really good. I would have no problem giving you the opportunity to learn Playwright, but as long as you know the concepts and you're able to quickly adapt and learn it, and I can see that, right, from communicating with you. But like I was saying, I think we are a lot harsher with ourselves when it comes to giving ourselves feedback. So you might have thought like the interview was horrible. They might have asked you a question and you thought like, oh my God, I so bombed on that question. I'll tell you this, when I'm interviewing people, I'm more thinking, like, I'll ask questions that might be tough sometimes, but it's just to see like, okay, what does the person know? Because I might already be sold on the person, but I'm like, oh, I wonder what else they know. And I'm start asking questions, having conversation with them, and they might think that I'm like, oh my God, there's no chance I'm getting this job because I answered this one question that I said I didn't know. I answered it incorrectly, and then you go back and you check and oh my God, but I'm like, oh, I've been done with all of with the interview part. Like, I just want to see, okay, what else do you know? How does your mindset? What else? Like, what are you willing to learn? But I'm like, okay, yeah, I'm either like a no already or I'm a yes already. So it's really to gauge at that point And looking for like if you're a good fit. And I wouldn't say somebody's not a good fit because they're experiencing mobile automation, not web automation. I would say I would be looking more at, can they fit into the company culture? Can they adapt? Are they going to be a headache to work with? All of those things. I think that if you found yourself to be the 36th candidate out of 455, that's pretty good. I mean, I would have preferred to be the first candidate out of 455, but it is what it is. So I would say not to be too harsh on yourself. What I have seen in the on the opposite side is people who might have been like so bad in an interview and they are like the most confident. Oh, this job is mine, and they were just terrible, like bad personality, couldn't answer any technical questions. They were so lackadaisical on the technical project, if there was one, or answering the technical questions. It's like, and have you like, well, I don't know if you ever interviewed people, but have you ever been in an interview where like the people are a little bit combative and stuff like that? And I'm like, okay, why are you trying to argue with me in an interview that you want me to give you like a thumbs up to hire? I'm like, I don't know. I think a lot of times people's personalities show through interviews, and that's how people can come up with you're not a good fit. And that's why as well, there are multiple stages throughout the interview process, where you'll have the recruiter, then you'll have the hiring manager, then you might have a technical project, then you might have a technical interview, then you might have a team panel interview, then you might have one more, again, maybe with the hiring manager or with a higher level person, because through like while we're asking these technical questions, we're also trying to see different aspects of the person who's being interviewed to see, hey, is this going to work out? Like, because hiring is very, very, very expensive. So we are always trying to be careful with that. All right. So that is that question. Let's wrap that one up. All right. So I think I saw a question come in the chat. Shout out to Junior. Shout out to me, myself. I'm going to check out your chats in just a second, but I think I saw a question come through here. All right. There we go. So Maddox on the Twitch side of the game. Shout out to Maddox over there. He asked a phenomenal question. Let me see if I can get a banner showing up for that. Let me see. Where are they? Am I missing something? Oh, okay, I see. Give me a second. Let's get this banner up for Maddox's question. Okay. All right. So perfect. So let's get to Maddox's amazing question. So Maddox asks, what are your thoughts on time blocking to get things done? Amazing question. All right. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to just put up this banner because I know this is going to disappear. So I'm going to put up this banner real quick, and then we will answer the question. Let's go like that. All right, so let me put up a 5-minute timer on this one. So my thoughts on time blocking is, you know what? Let me do this. Let's start that again. Let me start that again. Hold on. Let me just do
another one.
So, like I said, Maddox says, what are your thoughts on time blocking to get things done? All right. So my thoughts on time blocking is that it is the most important thing that you can do. And while I like, one of the things I talk about the most is making the most use of your time. And to me, the way that you do that is through using your calendar. I time block on my calendar. I use my Google Calendar. When people set appointments with me, it goes automatically to my Google Calendar, sees the time that I have available, and then so I schedule when I'm live streaming, when I'm supposed to be working, when I have like meetings, when I'm the time that I'm actually at work. I'm time blocking all of that stuff so that it can easily fit into my calendar. I even schedule things that I have to do with family. So like if down here we have the city has this event called Movies in the Park, and I like to go to movies in the park. They'll have like some, I don't know, some kids movie and stuff like that. So what I'll do is I will time block about 3 hours, because it's like once a month, Saturday evenings. I'll time block 3 hours, and I'll invite my wife. I'll invite my parents, so that they can all have it on their calendar as well, and they accept it. And now I have it blocked off so that nobody can set appointments, and I can't schedule anything over it. When I'm going to hang out with friends, whenever I do that, I'm gonna add it to my calendar. I am time blocking just about everything, and then the open spots that I see on my calendar, then I can like plug those in with some other stuff. But the most important things that I need to do, I add it to my calendar. I have a time block saying, okay, this is what this is gonna be, this is what that's gonna be, all of that stuff. Let's see. So definitely, I think that's really, really important. One thing that you have to be careful about when time blocking is sticking to it, because a lot of times you might get deep into some work and you're like, oh, I just have to finish, have to finish, and then you had time block like an hour and a half for it, and then 3 hours goes by, and now you're totally off schedule. That has happened to me before, and it's inevitable because you get really, really deep into working into that, into whatever you're working on. But I do think it's important that you try to stick to it as much as possible. Be flexible with yourself, right? Don't go crazy if you don't meet that block of time that you've set. But I would say that using my calendar has made me so much more efficient and aware of the things that I'm supposed to do. And I don't know if they have this on. I don't know if they have this on iOS, on Apple, right? But I have this app on my Android where it syncs with my calendar. So based on what's on my calendar, it's like an alarm clock for your calendar. So if let's say you have time blocked to do, I don't know, study, like to learn web development from 3 to 5, you can set it to say, all right, at 2:45, ring the alarm to let me know that in 15 minutes it's time for me to move on to my next thing. And you just organize it that way. So I think that like it has been so helpful to me. I'll even tell you this. I even have sleep on my calendar because I'm like, all right, this is the time that I want to wake up. And sometimes I'm like, you know what? There's no, like, I can push it a little bit more, but at least I have it there. I think one of the most important parts is to have that organization, that you have time allocated for things, and then you can adjust it as necessary. But not having it at all, that's going to be your biggest downfall. I know a lot of people, they don't like to have a calendar because they don't want the accountability. For me, I would rather have it and then adjust it as necessary than not have it at all, and then I'm just winging it. I'm just lifelessly walking through life, which sounds like it doesn't make sense. You're lifelessly walking through life. But that's what a lot of people are doing. They are just zombies. They don't have a schedule. They don't have a time frame. They don't have goals. All they have are useless dreams. Great question, Maddox. Shout out to Maddox as always. Let us wrap that question up. And with that being said, I am going to check the chat. I'm going to say hello to everyone, and then we'll go from there. So, and I got now I have Roxy's official message. Roxy says, "Good evening, Tech Coach Ralph, and everyone. Good evening to you as well, Roxy." We got my guy Junior in the building. Says, what's up? What's up? What's up, family? Shout out to you, Junior. How are you doing today?
Let's get it.
And Junior, I saw that BMW video. I was like, that is so cool. I want the deets. I want the deets behind that. Let's see. Where are we? We got my guy, Me Mystify, in the building. Says good evening to Ralph. The beautiful Miss Roxy and the chat. Hope all is well. Hope all is well with you as well. Me Mystify. Let's see. Awesome. I always gotta read this one. Awesome smile. How are you doing? That's hilarious. Let's see. Roxy's talking about her 401k. That's hilarious. Let's see. Meanwhile, says, I'm okay in Vegas to get this crack top arc replaced. I'm guessing that has something. Oh, no, that must be your teeth. I'll be going in tomorrow to pick out the color of my permanent teeth. Color of your permanent teeth? What? What are the, what are the options of the colors that you can have for your permanent teeth? I didn't know there were color options. Since I have to come out here in May to have my permanent teeth installed. Interesting. Let's see. Why Vegas, not Miami? Let's see. Junior says, that's a fact. I don't care for sports or entertainment because I think it's a waste of time. So rarely I jump on shows just to support unless it's giving me great information like tech, Coach Ruff. Oh my goodness. That is so nice. That is so nice. Shout out to Junior. I appreciate you.
I appreciate you.
Let's see. Me Mystify said he found a better price in Las Vegas than in Miami, and I have a place to stay, so I don't have to pay for a hotel. I don't know anyone in Florida, nor any personal information about the dental procedures there. That's a good point. Go where you know. And Roxy says, is that a new cap, a donkey? This is not new. I've had it for a while. I just don't wear it that often. But yes, it is a donkey. It is a donkey. You know, I'm feeling some type of way tonight. And Junior says, aimlessly walking through life. A lot of times it's like The Walking Dead out here. It is like The Walking Dead out here. Me Mystify says, different shades of white from dull to super white. Oh my, there was something, I forgot what show or movie it was, where the person had left the teeth whitener on for too long, and like his teeth were like bright as a what do you call those HID lights? Those I forgot the name of that. I forgot the name of that though. But yeah, that's pretty cool. That's awesome. Says, are you feeling like a donkey, Tech Coach Ralph? Yes, I am feeling like a donkey. I am feeling like a donkey tonight. It depends on the questions that I get. It depends on the questions that I get. You know, I'm telling you, my conversation with Rod Brown last week opened up my eyes a lot. So shout out to the Nourishing Word, and shout out to Rod Brown. And I am happy that Rod Brown has been premiering videos as well. All right. Let's see. I see Wave Nerd is in the building. What's up, Wave Nerd? Wave Nerd says, what's good? Good people of the chat. Shout out to you, Wave Nerd. I'm about to make some adjustments, Wave Nerd, and I should be having some more time open up, so we are going to be able to run it up.
Let's get it.
All right, let's get to our next two questions of the night. And shout out to Maddox asking that amazing question about time blocking a little bit earlier today. All right, let's get to our next one. Where are we? Let's see. All right, there we go. So let's get to this.
Another one.
Agile takes too much time out of developers' workflow. What? I'm curious about what you guys think what perspective that you have on how much time your developers are spending executing projects versus updating / maintaining them. I've witnessed developers spend dozens of hours of their work week in meetings, plannings, sprints, estimating timelines, checking in, and doing stand-ups. I've seen senior level engineers waste entire days on solely these tasks instead of completing the project work that is being discussed. To add, projects are dependent on developers writing tickets, further distracting them from dev time. This project execution delay adds to the management disconnect that happens when they expect features or products to be shipped with unrealistic times. I hear that. I get that Agile is supposed to help us stay on track and work together better, but when we spend so much time planning projects and guessing how long something will take, it slows us down. All right, so let's put up 5 minutes on this one. I think that there needs to be a happy medium. While it's possible, so let's put it like this, right? The agile process, it's in the guidelines. It says you should expect to spend 4 hours for every week of the sprint in your sprint planning meeting. Yes. I don't know about you guys, but I don't think I have the capacity to spend 8 hours, let alone 4 hours in a meeting with a group of people at all. I'm sorry. I am sorry. I don't think I have that capacity in me. So I think that part of being agile is finding ways to optimize your workflows. One of the principles of agile is people over processes, right? People over process. So with that being said, when we're doing our planning lasts between an hour and a half to 2 hours. We have our refinements for about an hour. Maybe we do it twice a week, but and we are always willing to cancel meetings that we don't have any what's the word that I'm looking for? Like if we don't have anything to talk about in the meeting, we're always willing to cancel it. Now, as far as the developers writing up their own stories and stuff like that, I think it depends on who is leading the project. I've seen a lot of benefits to the like a senior developer leading a project as opposed to the project owner coming up with all the stories. I remember traditionally the product owners would write all the stories and then they would just dictate to the engineering team what they want done. But what I've seen from that is the engineering team really doesn't care about the success of the product at that point. The way that I've seen it, the way that I work now is that the project owner / project manager, they come up, they bring us the goal. What is it that we need to accomplish? And they say, okay, now you go and you figure that out, and I will be there to get insight, give feedback, give you guys whatever it is that you need. But the fact, like, but me to like actually say, okay, this is exactly how this is gonna work. No, you guys figure out what's the best way to get this to work. And I've seen a lot of success in that way, because now the engineers who are leading the project, they actually are invested in the application that's being built. And if the lead engineer or the senior engineer, if they're rallying around this project that they're in charge of, now the other engineers are also going to buy into it. Their input matters. They get to say, okay, what about this? What about that? And now it's an engineering conversation. So the whole team is rallying around the success of this project. Delivering to who becomes our stakeholder is the product manager and beyond. So I think that it is very, very essential to have the development team as part of this. Now, I think when planning and setting up sprints, we need to take into account all of these processes that we need to go, like, all the meetings that are necessary. I think it's important in retro to do an inventory, in our sprint retrospective to do an inventory. Do we need to be doing this? Do we need to be doing that? If it's unnecessary, then get rid of it. the word agile is being able to means you're being able to shift, to change, to adapt. So don't keep these stringent processes just because they say that the processes are like, because it's part of the agile process. The scrum master should be flexible enough to say, okay, yeah, let's try this, let's try that. Delta pluses, what can we do to get better, to get 1% better every single sprint, just to get a little bit better, and what works for us, what is our working agreement. I think that is very, very important, and we should never be afraid to challenge the status quo just because that's how we've always been doing it. Well, things evolve. There might be a better way to do it. Are we willing to try it out? So that's my thoughts behind it. I think that we need to be a little bit more flexible. I think it's more beneficial that the project might go a little bit slower, but you're getting high quality work done, as opposed to you're just going fast but nobody cares, and then you have a disaster of a project, and then at the end of the day you have a bunch of spaghetti code all over the place. All right, so that is my thoughts behind it. Let me know your thoughts. What do you think? Do you think that if you're working in an agile environment, do you think that there's too many meetings, too many processes? What are your thoughts on how we can make it better? All right, let me know. Let's wrap that question up. And you know what? I said I was going to do 2 questions, but I'm just going to do question chat, because there are I have a lot of friends in the chat today, so I do not want to neglect my friends. So I'm going to get to the chat. Let's see what we have going on over here. Let's see. Wavener says, I'm ready to get to work, build some more sections. Let's get it.
Let's get it.
So I'm going to have to make some tough decisions, but I think they're going to be well worth it in the end. All right. We got MB in the building. Says, hey, everyone. What's up, MB? How are you doing today? Hopefully you're having a phenomenal day. Let's see. MB says action items. And also says, at my company, they assign OKRs each quarter. What I can never remember what OKR stand for. Let me see. Let me try it. Let me just search it. I can't remember. I know what it is, but I can never remember. OKRs. Objectives and key results. Yep. There you go. Objective and key results. Let's see. Maddox says, love our agile sessions in Discord and have added it to my arsenal of getting goals done. Shout out to you. Let's see. Maddox also says on the Twitch side of the game, shout out to Maddox, always holding me down on Twitch. Says, have you used the Carver system for planning out goals? If so, could you speak on it? I have not. I have never heard of the Carver system, but let me look it up real quick. I am more than happy to look it up. Carver system. Let's see what Carver system is. Let me see. Carver. So I'll just read this real quick, and I'll probably dive deep into it later on, do a video about it maybe. But what is the Carver? What is the Carver target analysis and vulnerability assessment methodology? A security vulnerability assessment that is understanding of threats, weakness, and probability of attack, which could impact a facility, person, or system event. Is that what you're referring to for Carver system? It's a unique analytical tool because it facilitates both a qualitative and a quantitative assessment of an asset's vulnerabilities. Most assessment tools are limited to qualitative assessment. A quantitative assessment assists in highlighting vulnerabilities, prioritizing assets, and remedial efforts. If that's what you're
referring to, and the Carver stands for criticality, accessibility, recoverability, vulnerability, effect, and recognizability. I butchered that last one, but is that what you're referring to, Maddox? I have not heard of that, but I will be more than happy to do a deep dive in a subsequent video. But there's nothing I can say about it right now because this is my first time hearing about it. Let's see. Maddox says that last one. So I'm guessing you're referring to the unique analytical tool because it facilitates both the qualitative and quantitative assessment of an asset's vulnerabilities. like I said, I never heard of it, but I will be more than happy to do a deep dive into it to see what it's all about. But it sounds pretty cool. All right. We are caught up with the chat. Let's go and jump into our very, very next question of the night.
Another one.
5,000. Yes, 5,000 resumes reviewed. How to stand out. Right. So this one is not much of a question. It is more of a somebody giving feedback. Right. So let's read it together, and then I'm not even gonna set the 5-minute timer on this because they're just giving me information, and I'll probably add some commentary on it, but I won't be able to talk about this for 5 minutes, right? So it says, I've reviewed over 5,000 resumes. Here's how you can stand out, right? And I personally, I don't believe I have reviewed 5,000 resumes because I would probably just go crazy. But this person says, I'm a hiring manager and I've reviewed over 5,000 resumes. Here's how you can stand out. Number one, actually show the skills that we are looking for. We meaning the company. So on your resume, right, they're saying actually show the skills that the company is looking for. And what that is, so I'll give some commentary in between, right? So I'll keep reading what they said, right? So if you have the skills we're looking for, I should see them at the top of your resume. Content dictates the format, so whether it's a professional experience, education, or skill, place it at the top of the resume so it's the first thing that we see. What? In my most recent hiring case for a junior web content editor role, I only had 2 requirements for this role: high level of English skill and not needing sponsorship to work in the country. Despite this, many candidates submitted resumes and applications written with grammatical errors and messing up formatting. So I'll say this, right? I'll give you some insight into like when I'm working on my resume live in the Patreon, or when I'm helping somebody that I'm coaching with a resume, when I'm giving feedback on resumes. This is the way that I structure. This is the way that I recommend to structure the resume, right? You start off with your entry paragraph, where you are talking about why basically the whole resume is saying what value do you bring, right? But it's saying that, all right, this is what I've done, and this is what I'm going to do at your company. Then I say list your technical skills. What makes you qualified for the position that you're applying for? So let's say it is for a QA role. You want to list all the different languages that you're familiar with, the different testing methodologies that you know, the different automation frameworks that you know, the different testing frameworks that you know. Do you know any DevOps? Do you know how to use any cloud environment? So I list all of those at the top so that they can see immediately if I have those skills. And what they're also saying here is you need to adapt your resume to the position that you're applying for. You're like, what? You're telling me every single job that I apply for, I need to modify my resume for that job? Well, yes, because guess what? Getting hired is also a job. You need to treat that as a job. So if you do not, then you're going to get overlooked, even if you are the most qualified person. But guess what? If they don't know that you're qualified, then they're just gonna walk on by. All right. All right. Let's see the next one. It says remove those percentage bars from the skills section. I never thought about that one. But I don't have percentage bars on my resume. It says the ATS, the automated tracking system, has trouble parsing through those, and it means nothing to human reviewers. Yes, we don't care. We don't care about the percentage. It says, what does 60% of Canva mean? What does 40% of French mean? Nothing. Absolutely nothing.
Bruh.
It's completely subjective, as there is no linear progress when it comes to skill. And even if there was, why would you self-report that you're only half confident in your French skills? That's a good point. Maybe that 40% is enough for that role. Just list out the skills and leave it to the interviewer to figure out if your skills are a good fit for the role. Something that I do though, I'll say like how much experience I have with something. Like I can say that, oh, I have maybe I say, oh, I have like this this level of experience with the cloud, with AWS cloud, no experience with Microsoft Azure, you know. So I might gauge it out that way, so that they can have a good idea of where I'm at, so they can already start to see if I'm a good fit for the role. It says apply to so number 3 says apply to new applications, 1 to 2 weeks old applications maximum. So they're saying, unfortunately, part of the hiring process relies on luck. If I already picked 5 to 6 interesting candidates and started interviewing them, I might miss those that just submitted an application. To ensure your application actually gets seen, apply for fresh jobs only. I'm gonna go with what they said, because I only see resumes that are funneled to me in the process. So I have no idea how many resumes that the recruiters are looking at. Is keep the summary section short. Most recruiters and hiring managers only glance at a section, so you should keep it short and punchy. I recommend 1 to 3 sentences, so 2 to 3 lines maximum. Some people treat it like a biography with 10 lines of text. This approach not only makes me not want to read it, but it also wastes valuable real estate on the paper, which you could be using in your experience, education, or skills section. That's a good point. I think I need to shorten mine up a little bit, but I'll say this though. Although they say 2 to 3 lines, you want to flood that with value. Basically, the way that I see it is state what you do, state what, and I normally go with this format, right? State what I do, state what value I did in a like. State an accomplishment that I had at a previous company, and state the goal that I plan to have at my next company, right? So you can keep that short and sweet, but I think that highlighting an accomplishment, a major accomplishment in the beginning, makes them want to keep looking at your resume. That's my thoughts. Let's see. So it says create a LinkedIn, add people, and ask them to refer you. You probably already know about networking, so I'm not going to talk about that. Instead, I want to share something you may not know. Many companies have internal policies that require the hiring manager to consider or even interview a referral candidate. That's true. My company, for example, has a policy where a referral should at least be considered, while internal applicants have to be interviewed. This lets you skip the line and force your application in front of the hiring manager. That is very interesting. Now I see why people will ask me for referrals. And I normally say no, because me personally, I am not going to give a referral to somebody that I do not know. So, because people will add me on LinkedIn and say, hey, can you give me a referral? And I'm like, I'm sorry, I can't give you a referral. I can, because I don't know you. And for me to give a referral, that's me vouching for you. And if it doesn't work out for you, I don't want to take that blame. So that's just me. I don't know about other people, but I do not refer people that I don't know personally, and that and even if I do know you personally, I still might not recommend you, because I don't really like your work ethic, you know. So, if you're particularly interested in working for a company, follow up your application with an email a week later. It will help us see that you're engaged and interested, which will make us look at your application if we haven't already. It says, however, if you don't get a response to your follow-up, I wouldn't go keep my hopes up. If they don't reach out after a follow-up, they probably found someone else already and are just waiting for them to sign a contract. And some additional notes that this person put says, many people think that hiring managers always hire senior level applicants for entry level roles. While that might happen sometimes, from my experience, most managers wouldn't do that. We usually have a set budget for the role, which is given to us, which is lower for junior roles than senior ones. A senior will not be happy with a junior salary, so they will be looking for any opportunity to leave as soon as possible. And that is where the overqualified things comes in. You guys like to like, oh my God, they said I was overqualified. Well, the reason that we, like, in general, when I say we in general, that people who are quote unquote overqualified for a position, they're like, well, you're a senior, we're looking to hire a junior, the salary is a lot less. Like, oh, it's okay, I'll take it anyways. Well, Then as soon as you have the opportunity to make a lot more money in the senior position that you're supposed to be in, then you're going to leave and you're going to cost our company a lot of money because you were never supposed to be in that role in the first place. All right. So I personally, I don't like interviewing people because it takes so much time. You have to like speak to so much people, and then you have to make a decision and stuff like that. And you're hoping you make the right decision. So I don't want to waste a valuable hire and then have to do it all over again because you found something better in 3 months. No, I'm not looking for any transitionary employees. All right. And I've seen it plenty of times. People get hired for a position and then 3 months later they're out, and now we're right back at square one. Waste a lot of money, a lot of time, because guess what? After you get hired, then we have to spend a lot of time training you for like about the company, how it works and stuff like that. And then for you to just up and leave in 3 months after all that training, so much time, so much money wasted. All right. So let's see. It says, please submit your resume in a specified language. We always mention that we only accept applications in English, yet a dozen candidates still send their resumes in Swedish or another language. So maybe this person is from Sweden. This will automatically disqualify your application. If no language is specified, submit a resume in the language of the job posting. Edit your cover letter. Don't just submit an AI written one. Over 75% of cover letters candidates submitted were just copied straight from ChatGPT. Remember, hiring managers read hundreds of applications. We can see a pattern in words and phrases being used in generative AI outputs. I don't have a problem with candidates using AI. I use it myself, but you need to manually edit it and make it interesting. The competition is too fierce to be relying on HM not paying attention, hiring manager not paying attention. So let's see, how much more do they have with this? Almost done. So it says, that's a good point, Maddox. People still, I don't know if people are still reading cover letters, but some places do, I guess. Some places still require it. I think the government might still require it. Where's Magnetar when you need them? Where is Magnetar when you need them? All right, it says, let's see. So if you get to the interview stage, do some research on the company and the role. If you're applying to work for an enterprise in a specified role, don't tell the interviewer that you're looking for a startup environment where you'd be wearing several hats. I know it may seem obvious, but this literally happened in one of my interviews last week, so I thought I'd add it here. Because in most companies, your applications aren't filtered out by ATS. People are the ones reviewing your applications. There are some things that can be filtered out by the ATS via additional questions employers can set. But most companies, small to mid-sized companies, manually check resumes. If you're still in college, do some internships or participate in school organizations like for newspapers or events. This experience will make you stand out as compared to students who are recent graduates who haven't done anything beyond the classroom. So that is it. I think that is awesome. I agree with pretty much all these points. It's very, very, very important to be strategic in whatever it is that you're doing. A lot of time, I'm telling you, a lot of times we just want to, we go for the apply and pray approach where we just have this one crappy resume and then we just apply for everything. And then we wonder, why aren't we getting any feedback? So, or why aren't we getting any traction? Well, it's because you're not really putting in the work, Smokey. You are not putting any effort. So you need to, adjust your resume. And I'll also say this as well. A lot of people, especially newer in the field, they don't have the skills for the position that they're applying for. There was this one person who hadn't even finished their boot camp yet, and they're sending me like, oh, what do you think about this job? The job was making like over $150,000 a year, asking for 10 years of experience, and they had less than 0 years of experience.
Bruh.
Doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense. So make sure that and I'll go further with this. If I was a recruiter or hiring manager and somebody and the position is asking for 10 years of experience and you have 0 years of experience and your resume sucks, let's say in the future I came across your resume again, and now you do have that experience, I would be inclined to like, if I remembered it, I'd be like, no, I don't want to hire this person. I don't want to interview this person because back then when they applied the first time, they're just applying for anything. Because when they applied for the first time, they applied for a job they knew that they weren't qualified for. They wasted my time. Even if I spent 30 seconds going through that resume and application, they still wasted my time. I remember one time on Technique Tips, they were interviewing a recruiter. And I asked the question, like, how much time do you spend? And I had suspected the answer, but I said, how much time do you spend looking at a resume? And he's like, 30 seconds. 30 seconds. You have to catch their attention. So from that very first line, you need to catch their attention. All right. Anyways, that is my thoughts on that whole topic. Let's wrap that question up. All right, let's get to the chat and see what we have going on. So Maddox had asked, do people still read cover letters? I'll tell you this. I don't know if I've ever read a cover letter. However, I do work in the private sector. Roxy says yes, though, on cover letters, they still read. Roxy, so in nursing, you guys have cover letters. Like, what do you look for in the cover letter? Because I do know a few people that I'm coaching, like it was required to put in a cover letter. I honestly think cover letters are a waste of time because I spend like a minute on the resume. Now I have to go read a book report on a cover letter. Like, I don't know. I think cover letters are weird, but let's see. Junior says, I told my niece the same thing. Stop using AI for her schoolwork because I can tell it's not her writing it. And then the teacher told the class that most of their papers were the same from AI. AI is tough, right? Because I use AI for a lot of things, but I use it for things that are not important. In school, like, you have to know how to do the work, so I could see using AI to get information, like in the mornings when we're using AI to get we're integrating with the different large language models. I'll use AI for like all my descriptions that you see on this channel for my videos. That's AI. I'm not going to spend countless hours writing a bunch of descriptions that nobody's going to read. My thumbnails, the majority of it is being done through AI, but like for something that's important, something that has to represent me for it to be fully AI, that's not going to work. That is not going to work. So I fully agree with you on that, Junior. These kids, they need to do a better job, like knowing how to correctly use it. So you can use it for research, for outlines and stuff like that, but it has to be your own information that you're putting out there. But people use it for code though. People use it for code. Like they'll just say, write me this code, and then the code sucks, so I definitely hear you on that. Let's see. We have the one, the only Del Finchick in the building. Says cover letters make sense if you need to explain why. But what would you be explaining why about though? Like, are you explaining like why you were at a company for like 6 months maybe? Because for me, I don't know. For me, when I'm thinking about it, the first thing I'm gonna look at is the resume, and if there's something I don't like on the resume, I wouldn't even bother with the cover letter. But maybe that's why I'm not in recruiting. I don't know. I gotta ask a recruiter if they actually read. I actually know a recruiter. I'm gonna see if I can bring them on the channel. Actually, they're not a recruiter. They work in HR. But I'll see if I can bring them on the channel to see what their thoughts are about this. But if I have to know the why your resume is a particular way, I don't even know if I want to get that far into it. If I wanted to know the why, I'd rather you just explain it to me in the interview. But I don't know. It says, for example, why QA looking for a dev job? Okay, that is okay. All right, you got me on that one. You got me on that one. So this is to me. This is to myself. This is to you, Tech Coach Ralph.
Congratulations, you played yourself.
That is a good point. Why QA looking for a dev job? That makes a lot of sense because let's say you did QA before and all your experience is in QA, and then you are looking to transition to becoming a developer. I could see that you might want a cover letter, but the question is, are they even going to read it? That's the tricky part. Are they even going to read your cover letter to know why? So honestly, thinking about it, Delphinchick, I would probably, if I'm in QA and I want to go to development, I would do my best to transition to development within the company that I'm in, so that I can have my latest experience as being dev. So then I don't have to be explaining why I'm QA looking for a developer. But I do understand. I understand your point 100% on why you would be explaining that. I just don't know if they'd actually read it to care to find out. So, like I said, recruiters probably spend 30 seconds looking through a resume, through an application, So I don't know. Maybe they can use AI to do that part. I have no idea. Let's see. Junior says absolutely. Roxy says use it to sell yourself. I hear you. I don't know. I just don't. Maybe I'm wrong. I could be wrong because I just don't see people actually. I could be wrong because I know some places they require the cover letter, but there is no way in hell you're going to get me to read a cover letter. That's just me. But hopefully that'll be filtered out by the time it gets to me. Let's see. Oh my goodness. You're so bad. Since we don't live in AOC's district, no selling ourselves over here. That is so bad. Oh my goodness. All right. Let's get to our next question. Oh, let me jump into Wave Nerd real quick. Wave Nerd says AI is used on the Blade every single day. All right, let's get to our next question for tonight. Where are we? We're here, and
Another one.
next moves as a QA analyst. Talking about what Delphinchick was talking about to go from a QA to dev. Let's see what this question says. Let's see. So it says, what would you do? What would you do? So I've been at my company for 4 years now as a QA analyst, mainly doing manual testing. About 2 years ago, our team hired an actual automation engineer to get our automation project going with Playwright. So I got excited to potentially learn about that. But the project stalled and that engineer basically turned into a manual tester just like me. About a year ago, I finally attempted to work on the project myself from what was initially started, but I had to scrap it and start from scratch because everyone that worked on automation, 3 people, all had different copies locally and never pushed anything up to master.
Bruh.
So I got the QA team to agree to a page object model structure and new design for the project, and we pushed that forward. Fast forward to today, I've added 5 test scripts. It could be a lot more, but I had to stop sometimes. That are ran daily, and now other areas are interested in adding automation, along with a new QA manager being tasked with getting the project going. So I'm currently doing automation for 2 different areas. My only issue is that the roles and job description have nothing to do with automation, and no one has told me to work on automation. It's just something that interests me, and I know it would make QA more efficient with having an automated side. Another issue is I currently get paid very, 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 3 varies, very, very little.
Money.
Basically entry level compared with what I believe I should be getting based on time with the company, plus getting automation going and worked on. I have voiced my concerns to management about getting into more of an automation role, but they just end up doing nothing about it. So, do I continue to work on automation even if it's free labor that gets unrecognized, or just let it be and let new manager just run with it, even if it means he messes it up? So that is an amazing, amazing question. Let's start our timer. So I'll say this, right? My number one concern in anything that I do is, how can I learn and grow from this? I always want to do an amazing, amazing job, right? And I want the team to be happy. I want the customers to be happy, but I also want to grow. And if you have expressed your concern to management about you wanting to grow in QA, becoming maybe an automation engineer, and they just ignore you,
how dare you?
Then I think that while you're continuing to do the automation, like, don't stop that, because guess what? Doing the automation, although it is not your job description, it is not your role, you don't get paid for it, it's benefiting you more than anybody else. Why is it benefiting you more than anybody else? Because you don't know it. So now you have the opportunity to learn about the page object model, to learn about frameworks, to guide the team, to use Playwright, to make sure that there's good branching practices, good naming conventions, do code reviews and all that type of stuff. So you definitely want to continue doing that. However, at the same time, you need to go where you are appreciated and not just tolerated. So you have to continue to be. We just went through those questions earlier, or not the question, but the points of, like, so while you are learning and enhancing your skill set, if the company does not want to, if they're not putting a career path for you, if they're not putting you on the right track to be successful at the company, then you look externally to see what else is available. I've seen this so many times, and it's unfortunate, right? Because this is how companies shoot themselves in the foot. And that's how they never make progress, because what happens is now you're going to start applying externally, and you're going to be showcasing all the cool stuff that Playwright, JavaScript, frameworks, page object model, Git, maybe some DevOps, who knows, right? CI/CD. And now another company is going to see, wow, this person knows a lot. They're going to make you an offer. They're going to interview you and make you an offer. And now you're going to come to your company and say, oh, I'm putting in my 2 weeks. And they're going to be like, what? Wait, what do you mean you're putting in your 2 weeks notice? And they're going to ask you this.
Yeah, I have a lot of questions. Number one, how dare you?
They're going to feel like they're so entitled to you as an employee. But guess what? Why is it that and this probably goes way further than work, right? But why is it that we are only appreciated when somebody else wants us? Why? Why is it that we're only appreciated when somebody else wants us? So now this new hot company comes and says, oh, wow, like you are so valuable. You know how to do A, B, C, and D. Well, why don't you come and work for us? And now your company's like, whoa. We will give you the world if you stay with us. We're going to give you a pay bump. We're going to give you a title change. We will even give you your own parking spot. And my question normally is, well, if you were able to do all of that before someone was willing to fly me out, right? If you were capable of doing it then, because like if they're able to make you the offer, that means that they're able to do it. Why did it have to go and do all of this in order to get this offer? And they'll probably try to offer you more money and stuff like that. One thing that I've learned is to avoid accepting counter offers, because a lot of times it does not end up well. So to go back to your question, continue to do all the work that you're doing, enhance your skill set, level up. But if they are not willing to put you on a career pathway, career projection, give you set goals for you and timelines and stuff like that with you leading this type of effort, be ready to go. Be ready to go. And use the points from before. Get your resume crispy. Get your skill set, practice interviewing, all of that good stuff. Because if you are able to do all that work and lead a whole initiative like that, other companies will want you. All right. That's my thoughts about this whole topic. There's two parts for it. Make sure you continue to learn, but also be willing to walk away when the time is right. All right, let's see what else we got in the chat. Let's see. Junior says later family Bible study time. Shout out to you, Junior. Thank you so much for stopping by. And Delphinchick says, I am willing to work for food to level up myself. I agree. I mean, when I was, and like even to this day, I will pick out tasks that are not my job, and I'll make it my job because I want to explore new realms. I want to figure new things out, and that just adds more to my arsenal. It adds more to my portfolio, you know. And Delphinchick says, never accept a counteroffer.
Bruh. Congratulations, you played yourself.
They don't normally work out too well. They do not normally work out too well. All right, so let's continue on. Do me a big favor though, before we go on. Do me a big favor. If you haven't done so already, like the video, share the video, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell so you know every time we go live and drop new content. All right, and share it with a friend. Share it with a friend who is interested in tech, who needs this amazing information. You will not find this type of perspective anywhere else because guess what? A lot of people, they will tell you what you want to hear so that you can come and rock with them and stuff like that. But guess what?
I was gonna lie to you, but I had to tell the truth. I'm just being honest.
I tell the truth. And sometimes people don't like the truth. You know, I need to get the soundbite. You can't handle the truth by Jack Nicholas and A Few Good Men. All right. Anyhow, let's continue. Also techcoachoff.dev. If you are in need of exclusive information that will help you level up in your tech and career skills, and you get access to Team Tech Coach Off Discord when you sign up for the Team Tech Coach Off Discord. When you sign up for Team Tech Coach Off Patreon at techcoachoff.dev, right? Techcoachoff.dev, like it says in the logo right here. All right, let's move on to our very next question of the night.
Another one.
Post-PIP performance improvement plan, HR meeting at the end of the day. So HR meeting post-PIP at the end of the day, got put on a 90-day PIP performance improvement plan at my 1-year review when I thought everything was going fine.
Bruh.
I was a moron. That's kind of harsh thing to call yourself. So I was a moron and didn't realize what this actually meant. So I kept on having my one-on-ones with my supervisor and thought I had improved enough. Then at the 90-day mark, I get hit with a meeting with the supervisor and HR and my department head at 2 p.m. when my one-on-one usually is. I assume this means I'm getting fired, but wondering if the fact that it's at the end of the day means anything. My shift is from 7 to 3, so are they gonna pack me out of the door that day or what? Well, it's a timer. Well, you know, sorry to say that it's over for you. It is over. Call it a wrap. But there is some valuable insight to this, right? I do not think it is possible. I don't think it's possible that you would be blindsided by a PIP at your 1 year review. Does that mean you never had a all right. Okay. All right. Let me do it this way.
I'm just being honest.
This person is lying. All right. I'm just going to be honest with you. This person is lying, or they are, or they are a moron and a knucklehead.
I'm a knucklehead at times.
There is no possible way that you could be having one-on-ones every week with your supervisor and find out after 1 year that you thought everything was going fine, that you get put on a 9-day PIP. Like, there's no possible way that it can happen. That you speak to your supervisor every week or every other week, and then you find out that you're being put on a 9-day plan. You know, 90 days, same as cash. I was watching Dave Ramsey interviewed by Sean Ryan on the Sean Ryan podcast, or Sean Ryan show, he calls it. And Dave Ramsey was explaining how his company hires and fires, right? And when there's somebody who is a problem, how they try to work with them, and people, they are never surprised when they are fired for performance. Now, if somebody's getting laid off because of downsizing, stuff like that, that's a totally different story, because you might be doing a great job, but there's just no budget for you, no room for you. But to be fired for performance reasons, you know that it's coming. You know it's coming. Because they would have spoken to you enough times. And when you say I was a moron and didn't realize what that actually meant, so I kept on having my one-on-ones with my supervisor and thought I had improved enough. What type of conversation are you having with your supervisor that you would not know how you're actually doing? That doesn't make any sense, right? So the fact that you are at your 90-day mark and you are meeting with the supervisor and the HR and the head of the department, it is not a good sign for you.
Bruh.
And while I can sense from this post that although you called yourself a moron, but you have the intention of blaming your supervisor, blaming HR, blaming the department head for not properly being prepared, not asking the right questions. When you're told that you're put on a performance improvement plan and you don't ask, what does that mean? What can we do? You're not asking for your progress. And usually when you're put on a performance improvement plan, you're meeting with your supervisor like some companies it's every single day. Some companies it's like twice a week, 3 times a week. It depends on the company, but you would know. And when you're meeting with your supervisor, what are you guys talking about that you would not know how it is that you're doing? I don't know. It's just super, super weird to me. I don't believe it. You should have a better. We need to take accountability, and we need to what's the word I'm looking for? Take control of our own life, our own careers, our own destiny, because the second that somebody tells you that you need to improve, then you need to ask questions. Okay, what am I doing wrong? What can I do to improve? You don't take a adversarial relationship to it. Like, you're like, oh, like if you truly didn't know, it's, oh, okay, like what can I do better? How can I do it? What would you take? And I would ask this question as well, because it comes from the book Never Split the Difference by Chris Voss, former FBI negotiator, where he says, like when you're in an interview, ask the person who's interviewing you, what does it take for me to be successful here? But I would say if you get to the point of being in a PIP, I would ask the question of what would it take, Like, what would it take for me to get better? Give me the blueprint. What do I need to do in order for me to be successful? If you didn't ask that question before, ask it now. And then you make sure that you are doing those things every single day. And when you have your one-on-ones, you are speaking with your supervisor saying, okay, can you rate me? Can you grade me on A, B, C, and D? How am I doing? If you really want to work for that company, because if you don't make it, the job market is hard out there. The job market is hard out there, right? So I'm just saying, let's wrap that question up. Let's check the chat and see what we got going on. We got my guy Magnetar in the building. Says Sith Coach Ralph.
You don't know the power of the dark side.
What's up, Magnetar? I had a question for you, Magnetar. Being that you are pretty familiar with government employment and resumes and stuff like that, how important is the cover letter inside of the public sector? Like, how much do you guys value cover letters? For me personally, I don't value them too much. Then again, I'm not a recruiter in the private sector, but I just don't think that we have time to go through as many cover letters for resumes and stuff like that. But I'm just wondering, how much have you seen the cover letter valued in the public sector? Let me see. Maddox says PIP, Performance Improvement Prep Program. Yeah, it makes a lot of sense to me. Let's see. All right, cool. So we will catch Magnetar's answer on after the next question, right? But if anybody wants to call in, feel free to call in, and we can have a conversation about whatever it is that you want to talk about in tech or careers, all of that good stuff. As well, by the way, in the chat, I see that Nightbud has posted the traumatic brain injury survey. I am still collecting information for that survey. So if you know anybody who has suffered a traumatic brain injury or you've suffered a traumatic brain injury, please fill out the survey. That is for my cousin who suffered one last year, and she is a system engineer, mathematician, and she is collecting data to help provide better information on how to deal with traumatic brain injuries with TBIs and how to help people that have suffered traumatic brain injuries. All right. Magnetar comes through, says, I've used a cover letter twice early on. It's never done anything for me. Also, didn't see any on the resumes I reviewed during the hiring panel. I'm with you, Magnetar. I am with you. I am not the biggest fan of cover letters. Some companies they require them. I don't know. I'm just not a big fan of them. But if it's required, write a good one. But for the most part, if it's not required, I wouldn't waste my time with it. I would not waste my time with a cover letter. All right. Thank you, Magnetar. Appreciate it. You know what, Magnetar, you got one of these.
I appreciate you.
All right, let's continue on with the show. We're having a great show. I'm so excited for this show tonight. We're having such an amazing show tonight. All right, let's move on to our next question of the night. I'm actually liking the question chat like we used to do, because we get to talk more about the question that we just finished up. Magnetar, let me check this out. Magnetar also says, short answer, they may not mean much, or it could just depend on the agency you're applying to or the grade you're going for, G13 and up. G13 is government level, talk for positions, stuff like that. I do not work for the government, so if you want to have Magnetar break down how government hiring works, we will be doing that in the Team Tech Coach Ralph Discord. I just gotta figure that out. I'm gonna reach out to you, Magnetar, because maybe we can have a conversation, even if it's just like me and you talking about it. You can break down how government hiring works. You know, Magnetar always promotes usajobs.gov. All that good stuff. GS means general schedule. Awesome, Magnetar. Thank you. General schedule. There you go. Perfect. You know what, Mentor, you would be a great resource. I'm going to reach out to you in the next few days, and we can schedule something that we can do where we can break down how government hiring works. If you wanted to get a job for the government, if there's still jobs available for the government, of course, like how would you go? How would you go about doing that? What in the world just happened here? Hold on. Where are we? Where are we? I did something. There we go. We're back. All right, cool. That was weird. All right. Let's go and let's get to our next question. Thank you so much, Magnus. Let's get to our next question for tonight.
Another one.
Honey, I Shrunk Our QA Team. Do you guys remember the movie Honey, I Shrunk the Kids? Do you guys remember the movie Honey, I Shrunk the Kids? So let's get to this question. It says, our QA team just shrunk. Now 3 regular QAs and 2 managers. Our QA team has recently undergone some restructuring. We used to have a larger team, but now it's just down to 3 regular QAs and 2 managers. The workload and responsibilities have shifted quite a bit, and it's been an interesting adjustment. Has anyone experienced a similar reduction in team size? How did you manage the transition? Would love to hear your thoughts and experiences. So I don't know if I've ever experienced a QA reduction, but let me put it like this. Let's start a timer. Get some water too. I would say that I don't know if I have been on companies that have downsides and stuff like that, but I would say that the way that the downsides happen is, if there's only 5 of you, why do you need 3 managers? Why do you need 2 managers? What are those managers going to be like? I don't know. That's weird. Why would you need 2 QA managers to manage 3 people? I think the reduction could have easily been 1 QA manager and 4 regular QAs in order to manage the workload, because you're gonna need more testers than you need managers, especially for a team of that size. So I probably would have adjusted the shift, and the regular QAs are gonna get paid less than the managers, so it would still be a better budget, you know. But as far as the workload, I think that with the downsize, the QA managers are gonna have to get to work. They're gonna actually have to participate in the testing efforts of whatever it is that you guys are working on. I would say the most important thing to do is to meet regularly, whether it is asynchronously or synchronously. Shout out to our software explorations tomorrow, where I'm going to be breaking down asynchronous functions versus synchronous functions. It's a very, very important aspect of development. But I would say that with any reduction in team, you're going to have to reallocate who does what. You're probably going to end up having to do a little bit more. Well, it's not probably. You are going to have to end up doing more with less. It's inevitable, right? But you know, with any company restructuring, that's part of the game plan. How to manage the transition. I think the most important part, which Prince Marky D mentioned earlier, is communication. You're gonna have to communicate with your team of QA people, the 2 managers and the 3 QA people, including yourself. You're gonna have to communicate with your engineers. You're gonna have to communicate with your whole software development team. That includes the Scrum Master. That includes the product owner. If there are some things that you cannot get to, then you're gonna have to express that, saying, "Look, this is like with the changes that have been made. These are potential risks to our processes. We're adjusting. We don't have the same amount of resources that we used to have." The question is it more than just QA that was downsized? Have the developers also been restructured and downsized? I think that you need to come up with a new working agreement within your team of QA, within your team of the developers. How is it that we're going to work so that we can continue to successfully deliver our product? and support our users. All of those play a major factor into the whole restructuring and downsizing and stuff like that. The sad part is you're not at the position to ask the question, why do we have 2 QA managers? But I would find a way to bring that up. Like, why do we need 2 QA managers if it's only 5 of us? Do you need 2 managers to manage 3 people? That doesn't make any sense, you know? So I would definitely question that and get additional resources. So that one of the QA managers, they might have to go back to being a regular QA person, or they can go to another company or another department or something like that, you know? Workload, responsibilities, it's all what's going to be agreed upon, how you're going to allocate it. I would say lay everything out on the table, saying, okay, this is all the things that we need to do, and this is how we're going to handle it. It's all about communication. It's all about how we're going to work together to be successful as a unit. Don't be a cowboy, right? Don't be a cowboy. And if it's bad, at the end of the day, if it's really, really bad, then people are going to start to leave. And, you know, a lot of times the companies, they shoot themselves in the foot with this type of stuff. If they did the downsides without clear communication and they just want you to figure it out, a lot of times people end up figuring it out at another company. You know, the way that I see it, the company's going to do what's best for them. You also have to do what's best for you. Simple as that. And if you're not able to work within the framework of what the company has given you, then you might have to look for another framework that best suits you. All right. That's my thoughts on it. Downsizing sucks, but it is what it is. All right. Let's wrap that question up. Let me check the chat. Let's see. We got my guy, the nourishing word himself, in the building. Rod Brown says, good evening, everyone. Good evening to you as well, Rod Brown. Amazing video today, I must say. Amazing video. Very good perspectives. A lot of people talking about things they should not be talking about. And that's how you get Will Smith. And Magnetar says, sure, let's do it. Awesome. I'm going to reach out to you, Magnetar. Let's see. We got my guy, Mitch, in the building. What's up, Mitch?
Did we just become best friends? Yep.
Mitch says the proverbial a cover letter. I hear you, Mitch. I hear you. Let's see. And Magnetar agrees. It says, Mitch, yeah. Those goofy cover letters. I hear you guys. I'm with you guys on this one. I'm with you on that one. All right. Let's continue with, it says, let's do it.
Are you ready?
I agree. Break it down. You guys remember that? Break it down. All right. Let's get to our next question for the night.
Another one.
QA learning path for a Mang. What is a Mang? All right, so remember I didn't I come up with the word with the term Mang? Meta, Apple, Amazon, Netflix, and Google, right? I think there needs to be a T in there for Tesla. Mangta, right? But anyways, it says, need advice on learning path. They have a QA background. It says, I have nearly 10 years of experience in QA, primarily working with Selenium plus Java, but currently stuck in repetitive tasks at a which company? What's a which company? I have no idea what's a which company. Let me see which company. What does which company stand for? Let's see. I don't think that's what that is. What are fan companies? What is a which company is Wipro, InfoSec, TCS, Cognizant, HCL Tech? I've never heard of. Have you guys ever heard of which companies? I've never heard of a which company. I have never heard of that. Wipro? InfoSec? I never heard of that. TCS? Never heard of that before. All right. Anyways, my goal is to transition into a Mang level company and revive my career. I've planned the following upskilling path and would appreciate your feedback. Current plan: DSA, data structure and algorithms. Okay. Playwright with Python or JavaScript. Unsure which language to pick, Python or JavaScript. Cloud certifications. Azure developer or AWS developer, associates, which is more valued in Mang. Later, AZ400 DevOps engineer for CI/CD exposure. Let's see. Question: Is this a realistic path for Mang level companies, or should I consider switching domains? For example, Salesforce, SAP. I don't know. Says, should I upskill myself in security, performance testing skills? I have time to invest and wanted a structured approach. Any advice on skill certifications or alternative paths would be greatly appreciated. So let's start a timer on this one. I think that the pathway that you're heading is so-so. Data structure and algorithms, very important, because at a lot of these companies, knowing how to figure things out, how to think is very, very important. Shout out to the test lead, because he made a video of, he had an interview, it was last year sometime. He had a video about, I think he had interviewed for Amazon, and they brought him on site and everything like that. There was a lot of data structure. He didn't end up getting the job. He ended up getting another job somewhere else, but him detailing his experience was really, really good. So knowing data structures and algorithms is really, really good, right? I think that's very important. Playwright, I would say definitely go with JavaScript, because it's just more popular. And Playwright is just more popular in JavaScript. More companies are going to be using JavaScript, especially if you're working on the front end stuff. Cloud certifications. If you're going for a QA role, I don't know how, having a cloud certification, I think it's helpful. I don't know if that's going to make that much of a breaking difference for a QA role. If you're going for more of a DevOps type role, QA architect type role, then maybe. I would personally go with AWS over Azure if you're looking for a Mang company. If you're looking for a government-based company, then I would definitely go for Azure. If you're looking for a role in government, they favor Microsoft. From what I've seen, the private sector favors AWS more. But and some of them use Google, but it's more for Google's used more for data. From what I've seen, they have the capability of doing everything that all the other companies do. But I just see Google favored for data. I don't know if having the AZ400 for DevOps engineer is going to be that much of a factor for CI/CD exposure for QA. Getting these certifications, I would never tell somebody not to get them. Knowing how to do the work is going to be the most important. So. That's what I think. And I see Delphinchic also put this up talking about DSA equals passing leak code questions. 100%. I was going to come back to that. From what I've seen, a lot of these Mang companies, they focus a lot on lead code, and so knowing how to solve those problems is going to be something that I've never even logged into lead code, to be honest with you. But I know that they favor those lead code questions in projects and stuff like that. They probably they all probably have some share in lead code. They probably all came together and created it, and that's why they have such a heavy emphasis on it. Another thing that I would highly, highly, highly recommend that you do: check out the blogs for these companies, like their technical blogs. So something that we investigated last year was Netflix's Safe Test testing framework. We did not have great success with it. I haven't revisited it, but I think that if you look into the information that they put out and you try out like some of their packages that they make open source, so that you can get a good feel of them, is going to go a long way, because that just gets you that much closer. So, for instance, right, learning, you don't have to become an expert in it, but learning the frameworks of these companies. So, for instance, I'm not sure exactly what Meta is using in today's day and age, but they created Angular, if I remember correctly. So having a good understanding of how Angular works. Google, I think Google created React, so having a good understanding how React works. Having a good understanding, I think Microsoft at this point owns Playwright. So getting an understanding of Playwright, knowing how the frameworks that they've created and they own, how that works, is going to help you a long way. I would also say, if you are a QA person, I think it is very, very important that you start learning more about the technologies that you're going to be testing. So if you're going to be testing web applications, you want to go through a course learning learning web development, learning about React, learning about Node, learning about Mongo, learning about HTML, learning about CSS. While it's possible for you to be able to test it, I think it is so, it just adds so much more value to you by being able to understand what you're looking at and what you're reading, and you're able to contribute more to the conversation, and you'll be taken a lot more seriously by your peers, right? So I think that it's a good pathway, and even if it doesn't land you in a man company, it's going to land you in a great company that is going to be very, very valuable. All right. So I think it's worth it. Is it really? Oh man. Monica says that I got it backwards. It's Google is Angular and Meta. Is that so? Huh. I stand corrected. Thank you. See, Monica, and this is why I love my people who are watching, who are lurking, watching from the clouds.
I appreciate you.
Because I thought it was Google and Angular, but it's actually I thought it was Google who did React, but it's actually Meta. Let's see. Let me see. I'm telling you, Monica's on point. Monica is on point. Angular was primarily invented by Misko Hevery and Adam Abrams at Google in 2009 as a side project called Get Angular. They later developed AngularJS, and Google subsequently evolved it into a current Angular framework. I had no idea. I totally had that backwards. I thought it was the other way around. And React was invented by Jordan Wog, a software engineer at Facebook. He initially developed a prototype called F-Bolt. Shout out. You know what, Monica, you get one of these. Monica out here protecting Tech Coach Ralph. Shout out to Monica. All right, let's wrap that question up. All right, let's see what the chat has to say. Magnetar says Mang is also a wrestler, is he? I did not know that. Let's see. Del Finchick says it's big middleman companies, 99% guys from India. Oh, I did not know that. Okay. I didn't know. I never heard of a witch company before. Let's see. What else we got? Del Finchick says data. I forgot what it was. It was data structures and algorithms is passing lead code. Yup, you gotta get your lead code game on. And Monica with the assist said you got it flip-flopped. Google is Angular and Meta is React. Hi, folks. Hi, Monica. So happy. It's a pleasure to have you here as always. All right. I think we are at our last question of the night. But if anybody wants to call in, feel free to call in. I will be more than happy to have a conversation with you. All right. Let's get to our last question of the night.
Another one.
Evaluating the benefits of QA. The business is asking to evaluate the benefits of having QA. So I need some advice with an unusual task that I have received. For context, I have more than 12 years in IT, 10 years in QA, had worked in different sizes of teams, worked as only QA member in a couple of teams where I had to create and maintain QA processes, test, automate, etc. I would say I know how to adapt QA for companies if they don't have any. Me too, I've done that before in the past. My current company where I have recently joined look like nothing special, quite large, they don't have any QA at all, and want to deliver good quality of software. What? How is that possible? So you want to deliver good quality software, but you don't have any testing at all. Okay. That's why they hired me. Okay, that's what I'm talking about. I'm good with that situation. I love these kind of challenges, sound like me. Started to communicate with teams, written initial strategies, improve ticket quality, also testing, all that good stuff. But now I received demand to prove for business, I guess C-level people, the benefits of QA in numbers. And by numbers, they most likely mean money. What? Money? What? Say what? Say what? Say what?
Money.
Have any of you received this kind of task? How would you evaluate benefits of your own position? You got to be like, I am the table. Just saying. I'm a technical person, and as I speak with colleagues, all seem to be happy that we are moving forward and actually started to deliver much better quality of app. We have better visibility with our processes and much more confidence with our deployments. But this task for me is something unexpected and seems that I don't have the solution for it. TLDR, joined the company as QA. Now I was asked to evaluate the benefits of having QA in money. Okay, so this one is actually pretty simple for me to talk about. Let's start a timer on this one. So there's a few different directions you can take with this. While there is nothing like the thing with QA, it's hard to put money, a monetary value on something that didn't happen, right? But we can try. So the first thing is the further a defect, a bug gets from the development process, the more expensive that it is. So I would try to quantify that by saying, okay, if we catch a defect, like if a software engineer catches a defect, let me rewind real quick. All right. I'll say this. If a software engineer codes perfectly, if they code perfectly, never going to happen, right? That means no defects. That means that there is no cost associated with a defect reaching out, right? Now, if the software engineer, they make a mistake and they're able to catch it right on the spot, that just maybe takes an additional time. If the software engineer, they don't catch it and now the QA person catches it during development, then it's a little bit more expensive because you have the software engineer that pushed up the code, that spent the time writing the code, the QA person finding it and sending it back to the software engineer, and then they fix it, and then now we're good to go. Let's say the QA person, there is no QA person, or the QA person doesn't catch it, and now it gets deployed, right? But when it gets deployed, it gets caught right away by maybe during user acceptance testing, right? Now, the cost associated with that is that it actually went through the whole deployment process. It got to now the developers, they spent the time coding it, they spent the time testing it, they spent the time deploying it. It gets to whoever's doing the user acceptance testing. Maybe it's the stakeholders, maybe it's the product owners, maybe it's account managers, right? Whoever it is that's doing the testing. It gets to them, and now that costs more money because now it has to go back to levels of development, which now it has to go back to the user acceptance testing and going back and forth. Let's say the user acceptance testing doesn't catch it and it gets into production. And now the customers are impacted. Number one, it looks terrible on your company. It might be impacting revenue, and it's a bad look for you, right? So the cost. So now to add to the cost, it has to go back to development where the developers have to fix it. You have to do another release cycle. You have to roll back the deployment. You have to have user acceptance testing again, and then it has to get back to the customer again. And now you better hope that there wasn't another issue that was associated with that, right? So that's one way to show the impact and the cost of not having QA. Another way is if you look at metrics from before they had you working as QA, and you add a monetary value to the metric. So how many failed deployments did we have? How many customer reported issues did we have? How many issues were caught in user acceptance testing? How many unit tests did we have? Do we have any automation tests that were affiliated with this? That were affiliated with your with like the whole process, you know? That is another way to measure the cost that is on the necessity of QA. I would also detail all of the things that you do in your QA process, using all sorts of metrics, saying, okay, this is like by us implementing automation in our CI/CD pipeline, we're able to get feedback a lot faster so that there's a lot less manual testing happening. And with a lot less manual testing happening, and we're able to get immediate feedback with our automation running based on when the developers push their code. It automatically triggers their unit tests. It automatically triggers our API tests, our integration tests, whatever, like our UI tests. All those get triggered, and they run in X amount of time so that we can have visibility on if something is even worth going into manual testing. You know, we might have to do a little bit of manual testing, but if the existing functionality doesn't work, we send it right back, and we have a quicker turnaround time, a quicker feedback loop. So to me, those are all the ways that QA is adding value, and it's about being able to articulate that and say, associate. Like, let's say you say, if the developer catches their own issue, it costs $100. If it gets to QA catching it, but still in the development process, that costs $500, or let's say $300, right? If it gets to UAT, that costs $1,000. If it gets to the customer, that can cost $10,000 and up. You know, so I think that's the way that you break it down. You're gonna have to like make up some numbers, but you need to the numbers that you're gonna be making up, use data to justify them and stuff like that. It's never going to be 100% accurate, but I think that is how you can justify the necessity to having a dedicated QA team or person on a team. All right, that is my thoughts on that. Let's wrap that question up. And with that being said, we are just about done for today. Monica, what do you think about that answer? What do you think about that answer? Like, how do you justify the need for QA? It's by showing your value, by showing all the stuff that could have been. QA is kind of like Minority Report. We prevent things from getting out into the public, trying to protect the company, right? Trying to protect the company. But that's about it for tonight. That is about it for tonight. Thank you so much for tuning in. We're going to wrap it up. We are going to wrap it up for tonight. We are ahead of schedule and under budget. Final thoughts. Monica says, good answer. Thank you, Monica. Thank you. See, I'm telling you, like, Monica is a fellow QA engineer, test engineer. So Monica keeps me honest, right? Monica keeps me honest, right? So if I'm telling you guys a lie, or if I'm giving you misinformation, Monica will say, nope, that's not right. And I appreciate her for that. All right. Final thoughts. Tomorrow morning, we're going to be doing our large language models, so tune in. We're going to be continuing working with Claude, with Gemini, with OpenAI. What else? We're going to be doing the software explorations, premiering software explorations at noon, talking about asynchronous functions and synchronous functions, why they're so important, talking about promises. I'm going to break it down in a way that I can understand. Hopefully I can help you understand it as well, all right? And then we're going to be going live on Thursday. I'm not sure yet if we're going to do another part 3 on the Fargate stuff, on the ECS, or if we're going to get back to ethical hacking, but I'm still trying to figure this thing out. So I might end up doing a part 3. We'll see. But I'll keep you posted. But that is about it. That is about it for tonight. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Delphinchick says, C-suites need numbers like QA costs 100K, prevents $1 million in losses. Good point. Very good point. That's like that the Ross prevention. What is the name of the security person at Ross? They're like some store prevention, loss prevention agent, something like that. You know, by them being there, maybe they save Ross a bunch of money, you know? Anyways, you guys have a wonderful, wonderful night. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Tech Coach Ralph, we are out.
I'm so tired of being taken advantage of. Haters love when I give, when I'm staying underpaid. But when I'm winning, I'm forgotten. They say I love you, but they're plotting. Don't scream out that I love you. Show me who you are first. 'Cause I really hate to trust in you when you end up being so hurtful. They say it's family over everything, right? Well, to me that really means nothing if they're not loving, no. And it's family over everything, right? Well, to me that really means nothing if they're not loving. They are the very ones who know how to break us down, who can put us down in the worst way. When you scream out that you love me, show me who you are first. 'Cause I really hate to put up with you when you end up being so hurtful. They say it's family over everything, right? Well, to me that really means nothing if they're not loving, no, no. And it's family over everything, right? Well, to me that really means nothing if they're not loving.
The sign is real simple. It says wrap it up. Wrap that shit up, dude.
I'm so tired of being taken advantage of. Haters love when I give, when I'm staying underpaid. But when I'm winning, I'm forgotten. They say I love you, but they're plotting.
Don't scream out that I love you. Show me who you are first. 'Cause I really hate to trust in you when you end up being so hurtful.
They say it's family over everything, right? Well, to me that really means nothing if they're not loving, no.
And it's family over everything, right? Well, to me that really means nothing if they're not loving.
They are the very ones who know how to break us down, who can put us down in the worst way. scream out that you love me, show me who you are first. Cause I really hate to put up with you when you end up being so hurtful. They say it's family over everything, right? Well, to me that really means nothing if they're not loving, no. And it's family over everything, right? Well, to me that really means nothing if they're not loving. They are the very ones who know how to break us down, who can put us down in the worst way. When you scream out that you love me, show me who you are first. Cause I really hate to put up with you when you end up being so hurtful. They say it's family over everything, right? Well, to me that really means nothing if they're not loving. And it's family over everything, right? Well, to me that really means nothing if they're not loving, no.